Today in the Fifth Gear Gaming Den is a Vision Racer driving seat, Fanatec Porsche gaming wheel and Superstars V8 Next Challenge, the latest release from Black Bean Games. Later I'll be getting an expert analysis from our competition-winning pro gamer Steve, but first I'll have a go myself. Unlike big gaming franchises like Forza and Need for Speed, there aren't hundreds of cars across loads of tracks across the whole world. There are 19 cars and 11 tracks, most of which are in Italy. The reason the game's so specific is because it's based around the real-life International Superstars Championship, an Italian V8 touring car series. It features all of the cars from the 2010 championship and even boasts some circuits which have never been before featured in a video game. When it comes to cars, you get a choice between various BMWs, Jaguar S-Types, more BMWs, Chrysler 300Cs, Cadillac C... They've called the Cadillac CTSV a CSTV. Black mark there, I think we'll ignore that. When you choose the car, you actually kind of inherit the identity of the driver behind it, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to assume the identity of my good friend, Roberto Papini, because he's got an awesome looking E39 BMW M5. Right, here we go. Monza, BMW M5. Ooh, that's not the sound of a V8. I'll be honest, the first thing before you even reach a corner is the sound. It doesn't quite do it for me. There's a lot of whine, which is fine from the transmission, but the engine note isn't quite right. And when you get to a corner, you just don't really get any sense of feeling like you're going round it. You feel like it's just happening underneath you. It's not particularly involving. You don't get any sense of speed on a straight, which on a track like Monza, you really should, to be honest. And the AI of the other cars doesn't seem massively bright. They seem very, very keen to follow a racing line that they've been programmed, not that interested in kind of tussling too much. Graphics-wise, it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. Good parts are the colours. The cars all look bright. Everything looks fairly vivid, so when it's a sunny day, it looks like a sunny day. Even the brake lights look like they're glowing from a bulb in the back of a car, as opposed to just something that gets red when a car slows down. But the biggest problem is how far ahead you can see. The horizon that you look for when you're looking for a braking point, or you're looking to the next corner, or you're looking where the next car's going to be, doesn't seem far enough away. So you kind of feel like you're guessing a little bit some of the time. Another minor criticism of the graphics is that some of the cars don't look perfectly proportioned. You don't quite get that sense that they're real when they flash past you. Prizes for doing well come in the form of trophies, team pictures and bizarre virtual gifts like a TV or minibar. You can choose between playing a quick race, race weekend or championship, but these real races do mean tediously long practice laps and qualifying stages, which, if you skip, will put you in last position on the starting grid. You think you can just drive over the gravel because it doesn't really slow you down, but then you soon learn to realise that if you do that, they've built in a penalty if you've made a shortcut, because they haven't quite been able to make the gravel slow you down enough. Okay, so I'm going to cut this chicane and see if it penalises me for doing it. I'm now in 10th position. I'm not going to even brake. I'm just going to zip straight across. Ooh, yeah, straight back onto the track. There, I've got a 6-second penalty. You can see on the right-hand side. It's cut all the engine power. So I'm doing 37, and then it lets you go. It gives you your power back to let you accelerate again. But to be honest, I started off in 10th position before I cut the corner, and despite the 6-second penalty where it stopped to let me have any power, I'm now in 4th. So I've done quite well there. And I'm going to do it again. Yep, that worked out fairly well. 2-second penalty, it's gone. I'm now in 1st, just by cutting the corner. So for me, Superstars doesn't offer nearly enough realism or originality. Let's see what a man who really knows about racing games thinks. A man whose virtual driving skills have won him real cars. Our resident expert, Steve. Steve, do you think I'm being a bit too critical about the whole Superstars thing because it's based on something quite specific?
Well, there's always more they can do. I mean, if you look at the very old TOCA games, I know this is going back a bit, but yes, they did actually have little Ford Fiesta races and stuff like that. So they added extra series to the game to just supplement the main one.
They haven't really made the most of it, ultimately.
Maybe not, no. I mean, it's good that all the cars and all the tracks for that series are there.
Yeah.
But maybe they could have gone further.
Fair enough. Back to what I find the most important bit, whether it's realistic to drive or not. What do you rate it?
I like to use the steering wheel for a lot of the racing games now. So with this one, the controls just aren't up to scratch. You seem to have a big dead zone where it's very difficult to actually do minor amounts of steering, and then after that it's quite quite sensitive.
I found that on the straight, you're kind of wandering around and you can't really correct it very accurately.
It's very difficult to correct it, and it shouldn't really be like that.
How about the online community? Because I know you can play in races, is it up to 16?
16 players,
online,
which is probably one of its biggest selling points, actually.
Yeah. I mean, is that a reason to buy the game, or is it not quite enough?
In my opinion, what really lets it down is the controls. I know I keep dwelling on that, but
that's a big point.
If you don't like the controls on it, then you're not going to play it online. I think, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just a core driving experience. Even that is not as good as it should be.
So, I mean, in a way, you could see it as you kind of not having many gimmicks, and maybe it's just for purists, but actually it isn't really dynamic enough.
Maybe that's what it was aimed for, but I think it misses the mark set by a lot of slightly more realistic simulators, really.
Okay, I think you made a good point there. So, with all of that in mind, we need to score out of 25.
I think, considering the issues with the wheel and the controls in general, I'm gonna have to give it 13 out of 25.
Oh, unlucky.
And so to the results for Superstars V8 Next Challenge. Our pro gamer Steve gave it 13 out of 25. I'm going to award it an 18 for the graphics, which, although accomplished, still lack realism in the car models, 15 for the driving experience, and 10 out of 25 for the inadequate range of cars and tracks. Overall then, Superstars V8 Next Challenge gets a 5th gear gaming score of 56 out of 100.